This is Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans with me, Cheryl Burke, an iHeartRadio podcast. Hey guys, welcome to Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans. This is Cheryl Burke, and I just want to introduce you to my guest, Adam Rippon. He's won the hearts of millions of Americans. He was on Dancing with the Stars, Athletes, which was 4 weeks, but won that as well. And he's obviously, an Olympian, and everyone loves this guy, including myself. I just cannot wait for you guys to hear this conversation. We talk everything about Tonya Harding, her experience on Dancing with the Stars, his experience with her, and whether or not he thinks that she should still be banned from ice skating. We've got so much juicy gossip right here on Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans. And I have to say, he does give me advice on how to handle my retirement and this transition that I'm in. So tune in and make sure you comment on our Instagram at Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans. And yeah, enjoy. Adam Rippon. Last time I saw you, we were at a drag show in Manhattan.
That's so true, actually. Yeah, we were.
Not too long ago, but we won't say why.
No, we won't. We actually won't do that. But yeah, that's exactly where we were the last time we saw each other.
Actually, and I'm going to just pat myself on the padded shoulder that I have here. However, I just want to say I was the first one to leave the freaking drag show. I am shocked.
I am shocked too, but I'm going to say I always think that I'm going to be the first person to leave, but I'm usually always the last, but it's not on purpose.
Right. No,
and so
I
don't know what happens. Something comes over me when I get into a public setting, and it's the worst and best version of myself.
You were actually on fire. And I have to say, it was so nice to see you let loose and let your hair down. You know what I mean?
Yes. What limited hair I have, I did let it down.
Adam and I go way back, not that long ago, but back in our Florida days when I wasn't even on your season in the first place. But I have to say, I feel like I've known you my whole life. You were even not a part of my wedding, but basically you're a part of my rhinestoning of my wedding.
That is true. I came over to your house and I don't know what we were rhinestoning. I just know, I remember that it was something that didn't need it and probably should have never had.
It was, you know what it was? It was a Hershey kiss.
That's exactly right. Yes, we were stoning Hershey kisses.
Welcome back home from Mars. What the hell? Are you on every reality show?
I don't know. I mean,
First of all, how was that experience on, were you in the middle of nowhere? I don't understand why they couldn't shoot this in Burbank.
Well, I mean, obviously Burbank does look like Mars.
What was this drama between you and Lance Armstrong? Was it drama, or did the press make it a big deal?
To be honest, what they showed on TV was such an abridged version, and it wasn't okay.
Tell me how you really feel. You said you were going to give me a good interview, so let's do it.
Right. Right. And you deserve this, and you deserve to hear this. Yes. And so, all right. Like I said, we're being filmed 24 hours a day, right? And so I think that's the whole point. Because by the time we've been filming for a few days, you'll catch people off guard and they'll have something that might be a personal conversation or a dinner table conversation, but it's being filmed. And I never lost sight of that. And so there was one night where, and they show it briefly in the show. It's about a 5-minute scene. And what it was in real life was about an hour. And it was Lance Armstrong talking about how he didn't feel that trans athletes should be able to compete. And I think the way that he was phrasing it in person, which is not on the show, the way he phrased it was a very uneducated opinion on why he thought that it wasn't that they might have an unfair advantage. To which I also thought was Lance Armstrong is worried about an unfair advantage.
Wow. I mean, that's his middle name.
I mean, it's the name of his game.
Right.
And so
exactly.
And so at first in this conversation, it's you know what? It's a topical topic to talk about and whatever. And the main thing that I was just trying to say, what I think about trans athletes is that I do think that people think, okay, well, there needs to be more research. Well, there can't be any research if trans athletes aren't involved in sports for them to be studied. And I also know all of the positive things that sport brought to me. And I feel everybody should be afforded that opportunity. And another thing of like the athlete, this is the interview that
God, I love you. I just
I'm
love
just
you so much.
Rolling.
You make me smile. And I don't smile a lot, yeah?
That cold breeze is getting warmer.
Your nipples are hard. I know it.
They are. They're rock solid. So what I was saying was that like to compete, and if you are a trans, and this is only for trans women, for trans men, there's kind of really no, they're not up against this because it's people who were born male transitioning into female. If you want to compete, there's a years-long process to be seen as a female and to compete in the female category. And it's like 2-3 years of being on hormone therapy. Right. It's not somebody who's like, you know what, I'm a girl now and I'm going to see at the Olympics tomorrow. It's way more nuanced than that. But really the big thing, it's like, we're just pretending we're on Mars.
Yeah. Can everyone just take off their helmet?
Right. And get some fresh air.
Let's just go back to your childhood.
I'm the oldest of 6, and there's about 2 years between all of us, all the way down to my youngest brother, who's 11 years younger than I am. And yes, my mom was taking me to these different locations for training that were not close to home. But the only way my mom was able to navigate that was through different people offering to let me stay with them. If they had like another child who was skating, I was staying with that family. Or sometimes I had relatives that lived in those places, and I had different skating parents come pick me up from those houses and stuff. So my mom wasn't spending that 24 hours a day with me. My mom was coming to like different events all of the time. Like when I had them, my mom would go to them, but my mom was at home with all of my siblings. And for the most part, I wasn't.
Right.
And so I think like, honestly.
How is that for your psychology and mental health?
I mean, I think when you're growing up, you just deal with the situation that you're given. And I knew that like, I really wanted to skate. I was definitely like the person behind it because this was like not something that was anybody else's dream. And so I knew that if I wanted to skate, this was the only way that I could do it at a high level. And so it just did not matter to me that this was the way that I had to do it, that I wasn't going to be at home. That was it. I still feel that way, that like I did exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm so grateful that my mom like trusted me to be away from home. But I never wanted to do anything to risk like being able to skate because I just loved it so much.
It sounds like me and my dancing career, though. Like, I mean, I also had to travel alone, and I was, I'm not going to say like, of course I don't regret it. Obviously, I'm sitting here talking to you, right? Like at the end of the day, like, and I held a mirror ball back in 1920. But like, other than that, traveling at 13 to England and training every summer, I'm just not so sure it was 100% healthy. Meaning like I grew up fast. I had sex when I was 13 for the first time. Like there was a lot of things that I did that I probably
wow.
All my listeners know already. Okay, that's how open we are. Literally.
I mean,
open.
But that's why I love you, because you just like, you're so honest and open about the situations that you found yourself in throughout your life. Like that's why I love you. Like that's why everybody loves you. Yeah.
It's also healing, like on a selfish note, like takes the shame away. So I realize this. And though I sometimes can say a lot, it's life. This is life. Yeah,
totally.
And I wouldn't change it for a freaking second, no matter what. And I agree with you. But there must have been a time, Adam, where you were like, I miss my family. Like these people on the rink with me are not my family.
No.
And that's why I love you, Adam Rippon.
I mean, I felt.
Did you feel? Were you feeling back then?
I mean, I felt close to my family, but like I also,
really?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll be honest, like growing up, I felt more like I was an uncle to my siblings or a cousin. And that's kind of, I felt like that's the dynamic. Like when I was younger, I would want to wake up early to go to the rink before school. And so I would wake up all my siblings at 4:30 in the morning and get them all ready. So they'd all be ready for school at like 5:15. So then I would wake my mom up. My mom's like, I have to get everybody ready for school. And I'm like, no, they're all dressed. I do my sister's hair. Yeah, I was like, let's go. I put the microwavable bacon in the microwave. We're ready to roll, Kelly. Let's get out of here.
I guess your discipline and everything that describes an athlete obviously has carried on to your adulthood, right? Through skating. Were there any trauma coaches, like people that may have like...
So my mom was also could be really intense. And I think my mom's intensity in the moment, I'm like, that was crazy behavior. But like looking back, because my mom was so intense, that scared a lot of different people who maybe would have taken advantage of me away. Yeah, because they were like, good. I don't want to have to deal with that. And of course, I'm like, my mom is driving me crazy. Mm-hmm. But I can see now, especially of things that I knew, like, you know, I only worked with one coach who like it completely like opened my eyes of like, you know, constant affairs with different students who had like just turned 18 and you know, getting like wildly drunk on the weekends and like just different things like that where I was like, oh, that actually happens in real life. Like I didn't even know. It just I was 17. It just like completely opened my eyes and I was like, oh my God, like, yeah. That's the only situation that I had where it was just complete insanity. Yeah. And it was just eye-opening. And it made me grow up really quickly. And now in retrospect, I see why my mom was so insane. I remember my mom being like, you can't get a driver's license. And I'm like, come, you have to be kidding. I'm like 17. My mom's like, no, you're not getting a driver's license. And I know now that if I had a driver's license, if I were ever, sometimes this coach would have his students who had a driver's license go with him to get drunk and then be the chauffeur.
Oh, be the designated driver? That and is I never so messed up.
I know. And you know, this is like what, like 10, 15 years ago? Like things are a lot different now, but like 15 years ago, that would be something where it'd be like, that's terrible. Well, whatever. Like,
do you have another drink?
Right. I mean, like, that's just the way that like it would be. Obviously, that would not be tolerated and rightfully so today. But that's exactly like that's what I feel like you were getting at of like,
yes, totally.
A lot of these inappropriate situations we found ourselves in felt very normal of the time. And then when you look back, you're like, that's wildly terrible.
Like I went to my first dance club at the Fontainebleau back in the day when I was 13. Okay. My life changed at 13, eh? But this is not about me. Let's transition. Let's do a good old transition. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. I think it's important to hear like the stuff that isn't so glamorous sometimes, you know, because it's real and it maybe hopefully brings awareness to like people like your mom and how amazing your mom was to make sure that she had as much control as she could have, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was
good on her.
It really good on her. Not easy to like live through when you're like on the like the kid in it where you're like, this is terrible, but I know why she did it and I'm grateful for it now.
Now, yeah. You're like, give me that license.
Now.
So you were on a mini tiny series because it was mini 4 weeks. I just can't believe, I keep forgetting that, Adam. Like I just honestly thought you were on a normal season because athletes would be normal. Like why would they just do a 4-week season, even less than season 1?
Listen. Oh, wait. Do you want to know something fun? I don't know if you know that. Okay. So Kelly Monaco is the first winner of Dancing with the Stars, right?
1920. Yeah.
1920. So Kelly Monaco's mother her name is Carmina Monaco, and she's a skating coach at the rink that
what?
Yes. So Carmina Monaco is her name, is her mother's name.
Philly.
Mm-hmm. And so Carmina was one of the coaches at the rink when I was skating.
Does she know this?
Crazy? Oh yeah. I knew Carmina.
Does Kelly know this?
I think Kelly may. I don't know if Kelly knows it.
Your schedule was insanity, and if I was your partner, I think I would have killed you. Not literally, but figuratively. How the hell were you that good? Makes me smell something fishy. gubbing along here. And then you were on tour and rehearsing in lobbies at the Days Inn or wherever you were, smelling the old scrambled eggs, and then come out on Monday. You miss camera blocking. Like whoever takes the place of you Sunday is camera blocking. You walk into the live show and you're like, da-da.
Okay. I do think that like being in a performance-based sport, that helped because I didn't feel weird in a costume and I didn't feel weird performing. So that obviously everything else was like, you know, weird. Sometimes people are like, well, now you know how to dance. I always tell them that going on Dancing with the Stars is like you spend 1 week learning a sentence in a different language and you work on that one sentence in a different language. And all of a sudden, like this week is Chinese and you learn that one Chinese sentence. And then at the end of the week, then you're learning Portuguese. And it's like, it didn't mean you learned Chinese. It just means you learned one sentence. And so that's what it felt like. And Stars on Ice was this skating tour. And we had like maybe 25 different cities that we were touring through, which meant that, you know, I would have a show and that we would have rehearsal for the show every day starting at 2:30, and we would probably be all finished with everything by midnight because we'd have rehearsals, we'd have like dinner, and then you'd do the show. And I would work with Jenna from maybe like 6 a.m. the next day until 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till 10.
Okay, that's a solid 4 hours. That's normal.
So we would just do the 4 hours because I mean, I don't know, you would be able to confirm, but I know that when we did our season, they were like 4 hours is your like max.
Yeah,
you can't do more.
Injuries.
Did people really get? Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
No, we lost some really great celebrities. Jewel, the singer, mental health advocate, she hurt herself during the training period. She couldn't even do the show. Can you imagine? She probably would have won.
Oh,
Jewel.
Yeah.
That was a huge and still is a huge name.
Oh, yes. Jewel is Jewel.
Let's talk Tonya. Can you tell me how you really feel about her?
Okay. So before I had ever met her, obviously, maybe not obviously, but in figure skating, in the sport that I competed in, she's like the boogeyman. Like you don't talk about her. She's not invited. She's banned for life. And so that's just how you think about Tonya Harding. And so all of a sudden, you know, she's on Dancing with the Stars, which is right after like the I, Tonya movie comes out. And she was very nice and super cute. And like, I think that like she found herself in a lot of situations that she shouldn't have been in as like a young woman. I don't think she should have been in a lot of these situations. And I think she came from a rough background. Yeah. But what do I really think? I think that she is not a bad person.
I think we all have a heart. And we're all human.
That's so true. And I think that, listen, I think that she heard, because the idea was that they were going to murder Nancy Kerrigan. And I think she was like, they're not really going to murder her. Like, you guys are idiots. And I think that she knew that they were thinking it, but I don't think she ever thought that they would actually try anything. So that's what I believe happened.
Listen, that feeling of jealousy and envious feelings isn't a good feeling. And especially if you're not aware of it. Like, I wonder, do you think, I mean, you already answered the main question here. We should just move on, right? But like, I just wonder if she had so much insecurity on the dance floor. Like, honestly, like that must have been really hard for her. Like, she must know that the reason why she's on the show is because of this, of her trying to kill her co-star or her whatever competitor. But like, I wonder how she got through it all. Like, did you talk to her at all? Did she ask for advice from you? Like, how the heck are we doing this in a dance costume or
no? But and I think that, like, you know, she's had so many, you know, we filmed my season in 2018. The Nancy Tonya situation was 1994. The I, Tonya movie, which is like a movie based on her from the perspective of her, where people are a little bit more sympathetic to her upbringing and her story. And so I think that she had this like moment where the momentum could be like, what you did was horrible, but the situation that you found yourself in was the reason you got led to this terrible situation you found yourself in. And I think that she felt that like people were finally hearing like her side of it in a way, that she felt like more comfortable. And I think especially after the first week, because I would assume that in the first week, she was incredibly nervous of how will I be responded to. I think after that first week, when everybody kind of embraced her, she felt totally relaxed and at home. So
how was the live audience with her? Were they booing her at all or no?
No, because everybody had just watched I, Tonya. So it was just, everybody was so curious to see like, what is the real Tonya like? And she is like, she's just like a 5-foot woman from the trailer park. Like she's just a cute Walmart loving gal.
God, I love Walmart and I love I, Tonya. Have you spoken to her since the show? I'm assuming not.
No.
You guys are not besties. Okay. Not like me and you, Avi. But,
Avi.
So what surprised you the most about, I guess, Dancing with the Stars? Like, I know it's different for you. We talked about it a little bit when we saw each other last, how like the lead and follow and like just honestly, like when Dancing with Val versus Jenna, I want to hear it all again. Okay.
Yes. So, we just talked about this pretty recently, but what I was saying to you was that I had always performed on my own. And what I never realized when you were partnering with someone is that somebody is leading the other person and there's like this lead and follow.
Yes.
And it's like, basically, it's like the pendulum of like, it swings one way and then the momentum swings it another way. And I think not that I was that much bigger like than Jenna, like I'm a giant Hulk, but I think, she was moving me around. I could feel it. And I kind of got the idea. And then Val also wasn't in the season. I don't know.
He wasn't?
No, he wasn't in my season. So I think maybe he was touring or doing something. And so Val came one day, like his tour and where we were matched up. And so he came. I cheated. No.
Hi, Adam. Just kidding.
It was I, Adam. And so I was showing Val what we were doing. I danced with Jenna and he was like, here, let me show you something. And so he was like, you be Jenna, I'm going to be you. And the way that this man flung and hurled my body around, and I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be moving someone like that. It was just, it completely changed the way that I thought about what it's like to partner someone. Like, oh, when you lead them, it's not just like a title. It's not like being a VP of a company and somebody's like in accounting. It's like, oh no, you're leading them. Like you're moving, you're physically moving. And it
watch your words.
Right. It blew my mind that like, oh, that's why it feels like when you watch the competition and you're there and you're watching the celebrities with the professionals and it's like, that's amazing. And then the celebrities, like, they pat their children on the shoulder. They're like, great job. The pros would go change costumes and then they would all dance together. And you're like, why does nobody
show you how
like
it's real
that?
done? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is why, because they're dancing as like one unit.
Yeah. So you thought we were that fast, like spinning like so fast, like we thought it was like just pure skill. Like it is skill, but it's a different way of movement. It's so fascinating, you skaters, because I did a show called Love on the Floor with Christy Yama, Meryl Davis, and Charlie White. And I love that I've heard another interview you did with Meryl, or not with Meryl, talking about how Meryl has influenced you. And I love that. And I love when, people from the same world just kind of like look up to each other. I think it's beautiful. How has, I guess, she shaped or helped with who you are today? And has she given you any advice you still take with you?
Oh my God. So I think Meryl Davis is like, I think there's a few moments in like everybody's life where they're like, that was an epiphany. And I have one with Meryl, and it's something that I think about all the time. And so in 2014, I had missed qualifying for the Olympics again. This was the second time, and it felt like maybe we're not really ever going to go. And so also in 2014, Meryl went and she won the Olympics, and then she won Dancing with the Stars. And we were talking about what it was like right after, in those months after Dancing with the Stars and the Olympics. And she talked about how like she didn't know what she wanted to do next. And it felt really emotional. And she felt this like sadness of saying goodbye to this part of her that she'd always known. And, you know, this fear of not knowing what to do next. And what was so crazy to me was that she was saying this as somebody who did everything I wish I could have done. I wish I could have been at the Olympics. I wish I could have been an Olympic gold medalist. I would have loved to be on Dancing with the Stars. And she said all of these things. And here I was. I didn't even go. I was like in the worst shape of my life. I looked like one of those, you know, melted butters from Costco at that point. Just like, butter. I do too. I don't love to look like it, which is exactly what I look like. And so I was like, oh my God, we couldn't have accomplished two completely different things, but yet we felt the same. And it was like when Val danced with me and hurled me like I was like my size Barbie. When like in that moment, I thought, oh my God, your experience is so relative to just your own experience that the emotions we all feel as humans are so universal. Like we're not all that different.
No, we're the same person. I mean, we're all one for a reason.
Right.
But like, that is really beautiful. Actually, I never heard that side of what you said about Meryl. So this is a great interview so far. Good job. This retirement thing is no joke. And like, I've heard you speak about it. I've heard about like the other athletes, I've danced with on the show. Like it's also because of the fact that it consumed my whole life. Though I know I know it wasn't my identity, but it was, right? Like at the end of the day, I didn't know that a bunch of stuff that I know now, obviously. But at the end of the day, how many times can I say at the end of the day? Dancing with the Stars. There's a lot of days to end. There's a lot of days and a lot of seasons and a lot of years and a lot of relationships. How did you do it? Like retire off this ice, obviously.
Well, I think for me, and I think I can't speak for you, but I feel like you felt the same way where I felt like it was time.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I felt like, yes, this is the right decision. This is exactly like, there's nothing more I'd like to accomplish. There's nothing else to prove to myself. I can leave on my own terms. And how beautiful is that? Because not many people get that opportunity to leave it on their own terms. That being said, did I, like an insane person, within a year go, maybe I should come back? Of course I did, because that's normal. Because I think you had that rhythm in your calendar for years where it was just normal. Like a normal year had a cast announcement and like the first photo shoot with your new partner and like the drama of it all.
Again, this is my 26th time.
Right. It was so normal. It was so just part of like what you did. And that first year, it's like, oh my God, like they're just going to do it without me. And like,
yes,
even though like you're like, I know
the show must go on. Yeah, I know.
And it just feels like, oh my God. But then I would always go back to that moment where I was like, I made the decision I wanted to make. And I was like, no, you made the decision you wanted to make in that moment. What I'm feeling right now of like, did I make the right one or did I?
know.
I did. And I think that you know that you did too, because you made that decision in the clearest mind that you could. And right now,
I did.
And I think right now, it's just that emotion and that excitement that you would have experienced today, you're not experiencing it. We're just creatures of habit and we love consistency.
Yeah.
And anything that throws us off that consistent schedule, even if it's the right thing for us, feels like, whoa, why don't I feel the same way I did? So I feel like, not that I'm a therapist.
But you are a life coach.
Right. But I think that it's in a moment where you're like, I feel like weird or sad. Feel it.
Adam, thank you for the advice, though, seriously, because it's so hard. Like, and you're right. I just need to feel, I need to understand and know that this was a huge 16 years of my life. Like, that's a freaking long time. It's like for me to be like, no, then my ego is in the way, right?
Yes. You need to be your own coach because your mind space today is not trustworthy. Like you can't, because you're clouded with like the emotion. And if you take yourself, and if you were just like your own friend and there were two Cheryls, the Cheryl that like would not be like, who would coach you would be like, what you're feeling is normal. And it's exciting that all the things that you get to do now, but like you can't be trusted with like the emotions of everything that you're feeling, but just know it's very normal and you're going to feel amazing.
Thank you. Would you be down to like do a full season? And what would you do different going into it?
I think the answer is no. I don't think I would because I already have the trophy. Like, why would I want to do it again?
The trophy. You're right. You're right.
If I did, I don't know if there's anything I would do differently. The one thing that I would do differently is that like, I'm like stronger than I was. And so I could do a lift. So I'd add a lift in because I kept threatening Jenna that I would add a lift into like one of our dances. And she was like, no. And she was right. But now I think she would be wrong to not add one.
What is, I guess, something you learned about yourself?
I think I learned that like, because it was right after the Olympics and this Dancing with the Stars schedule is so intense. I really learned that when it came to the show day, I would always show up and feel energized. And I think I always learned that if I really need to like pull it together, I'm capable to pull it together. And it was such a great thing to do after the Olympics because it was something totally different, but still felt familiar in a way. And it was great to focus on something else so that I could kind of just move forward in a direction that I had no idea where I was going. I'm like, what am I going to do next? And so I think I learned that like in a situation where I'm just throwing myself into, I'll be able to land on my feet.
What's next for you?
I like doing things like in the comedy space.
You're so funny.
Oh, I'm blushing. Now I catch on fire really like funny. You said I was.
You're really funny.
Wow. Thank you.
Like actually, like I'm really genuinely laughing with you. I'm not like laughing at you. Like I would never do that to you.
If that's what it took, I would allow it.
We need to put you up on the stage and you need to do some stand up.
Yeah, I think I should. I think
that's actually my worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how you guys do that.
No, I don't know. I think you'd be great at it. Oh, my God. Are you kidding?
I need a teleprompter. Do they do that?
That would be an incredible part of your stand up.
Oh, yeah, actually, it would be.
Yeah, I would love that. I think everyone would love if you had a teleprompter.
Great. Adam, I love you so much. Congratulations on your win.
I love you.
Bye. Make sure you guys follow us at Sex, Lies, and Spray Tans on our Instagram handle and make sure you comment. Let me know who you want me to interview. What do y'all think? Let me know.